In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 college basketball games happening on January 16, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Michigan versus Minnesota. The Michigan Wolverines will take their undefeated Big Ten record to Minnesota on Thursday, where they are set to face the Golden Gophers. A detailed prediction for this Michigan versus Minnesota matchup is provided here. Currently, the Wolverines boast an impressive 13-3 overall record for the season, with a flawless 5-0 mark in conference play, which has earned them the number 20 spot in the national rankings. Meanwhile, the Golden Gophers are sitting at 8-9 on the season and are still searching for their elusive first win in Big Ten competition. Under the leadership of Coach May, the Wolverines have quickly adapted to an aggressive, high-pressure system that emphasizes creating scoring opportunities through defense. This approach has paid off handsomely, as Michigan leads the Big Ten in turnover margin and ranks 3rd in scoring. Their ability to generate easy baskets has further propelled them to the top of the conference in field goal shooting percentage. On the other hand, the Golden Gophers face an uphill battle trying to keep up with Michigan's prolific offense. Minnesota is currently last in the Big Ten in scoring and near the bottom in field goal percentage, making it challenging for them to compete offensively. Their struggles extend beyond conventional scoring, as the Gophers also rank 15th in the conference in three-point shooting. Compounding their woes, the Wolverines excel in perimeter defense, holding opponents to limited success from beyond the arc, ranking 4th in the Big Ten in three-point defense. With Minnesota also positioned last in the conference in scoring margin and the Wolverines sitting 3rd in that category, this game appears tilted heavily in Michigan's favor. Last season, these two teams met only once, with Minnesota pulling off a narrow 73-71 victory as 5.5-point underdogs on the road. For the Golden Gophers to have any hope of replicating that success, they will need to play near flawless, lockdown defense to slow down Michigan's high-powered offense. However, that is easier said than done, given the Wolverines' current dominance in conference play and their ability to put up big numbers against formidable opponents. 2 games ago, Michigan scored an impressive 94 points against number 22 UCLA, a team with the best scoring defense in the Big Ten. In contrast, Minnesota's defense has allowed an average of 83 points per game against conference foes, suggesting that Michigan should have no trouble scoring efficiently. Offensively, Minnesota leans heavily on a 2-player attack, which will likely fall short against the depth and firepower of Michigan's lineup. The Wolverines are 3-0 against the spread in road games this season and 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 outings, while the Golden Gophers have struggled, going 2-7-1 against the spread over the same span. So the Michigan Wolverines to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Wolverines have been a scoring powerhouse, exceeding 80 points in 8 consecutive games and ranking as the 3rd highest scoring team in the Big Ten. They also play at one of the fastest paces in the nation, ranking 46th in tempo, and they excel at converting turnovers into points, leading the Big Ten in turnover margin. With a clear advantage in rebounding, Michigan should be able to dictate the tempo of this game and maintain a fast pace throughout. While Minnesota is statistically the lowest scoring team in the Big Ten, they have shown some improvement at home, averaging 77 points per game in their last 5 home contests. Last year's meeting between these two teams saw a combined score of 144 points, falling short of the projected 149.5-point total. This matchup pits one of the conference's top offenses against its most struggling one. Through 6 Big Ten games this season, the Golden Gophers have averaged 70 points per game, which is slightly better than their season average. However, given Michigan's recent offensive surge, Minnesota's contribution to the scoring may not need to be significant for the game to hit the over. Michigan is the most efficient shooting team in the country, averaging an astounding 94 points over their last 5 games and scoring at least 85 points in 8 consecutive matchups. Against Big Ten opponents, the Wolverines are averaging 84 points per game. Additionally, the over has hit in 7 of the last 10 games for both Michigan and Minnesota. With the game's fast pace likely elevating Minnesota's scoring slightly, the conditions seem ripe for a high-scoring affair. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Maryland versus Northwestern. The Big Ten takes center stage on Thursday night, and we're here to provide a comprehensive breakdown of the matchup between Maryland and Northwestern to help you make the most informed betting decisions. The Maryland Terrapins, currently holding a record of 13-4 straight up and 9-8 against the spread, secured a 77-71 victory over Minnesota on Monday. They entered that game as significant -15.5 points favorites. On the other hand, the Northwestern Wildcats stand at 10-6 straight up and 8-8 against the spread after a 78-68 loss to number 16 Michigan State on Sunday, where they were home underdogs with a +2 spread. Last season, Northwestern emerged victorious in both head-to-head matchups, going 2-0 straight up and splitting the against the spread record at 1-1. This game pits the Big Ten's 4th-ranked defense against its 4th-ranked defense, but Northwestern's defensive numbers warrant closer scrutiny. In conference play, the Wildcats have struggled, allowing opponents to average 77 points across 5 contests. For context, Penn State, which ranks just behind Maryland in scoring offense, tallied 84 points against Northwestern. Meanwhile, Maryland's offense averages 77.5 points per game in conference matchups, including 79 points scored against UCLA, the top defense in the Big Ten. The Terrapins boast 5 players averaging double-digit points and have proven to be dominant on the boards. Additionally, Maryland has performed well against the spread in their last 10 games against Northwestern, going 6-4. So the Maryland Terrapins to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. In Maryland's last 11 road games, the over has hit in 7 contests. The Terrapins appear poised to exploit Northwestern's vulnerabilities both in the paint and from beyond the arc, likely contributing to a higher scoring game. Both teams have demonstrated the ability to score effectively in transition, with the Wildcats ranking 15th in potential quick points off breakaway steals, and the Terrapins ranking 28th. Although Northwestern is less efficient at the rim and from three-point range, they excel in mid-range shooting, ranking 61st nationally in field goal percentage from this area against an average opponent. Furthermore, they attempt mid-range shots at the 13th highest rate in the country. Last year's meeting between these teams was a defensive showdown, with a combined total of 129 points scored, narrowly hitting the under against a 130-point total. While Northwestern's offense has been inconsistent, they've shown flashes of brilliance, with players like Martinelli and Barnhizer capable of scoring 20 or more points in any game. The Wildcats have scored 80 or more points in 3 of their last 5 outings. Though they rank 297th in tempo, Ken Palm places them at 80th in adjusted offense, indicating they can find quality shots when needed. In contrast, Maryland is ranked 28th in adjusted offense and 71st in tempo, demonstrating their ability to push the pace when opportunities arise. The Terrapins have scored 77 or more points in 9 of their last 11 games. Collectively, the over has been a frequent outcome, with a combined 19-12-2 record this season and a 6-4 record in the last 10 meetings between these teams. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Rutgers versus Nebraska. A pair of Big Ten teams are set to clash on Thursday night as the Rutgers Scarlet Knights hit the road to face off against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. This exciting matchup brings together 2 programs at different ends of the spectrum in their respective seasons. Rutgers enters the contest fresh off a 75-68 home victory over UCLA on Monday night, where they managed to win outright as 4-point underdogs, showcasing their ability to perform under pressure. On the other hand, Nebraska is looking to rebound after a crushing 104-68 loss to Purdue on the road this past Sunday afternoon, a game in which they failed to cover the line as 8.5-point underdogs. Historically, Nebraska holds an 11-8 advantage in the all-time series between these 2 programs, including a 67-56 home win in their most recent encounter on March 3, 2024. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights are heading to Lincoln to face the Nebraska Cornhuskers in a crucial Big Ten Conference matchup on Thursday night. For Rutgers, this game represents an opportunity to secure their first true road victory of the season, as they currently hold a 2-4 record in conference play. Despite having secured commitments from the top 2 recruits in the 2024 class, the Scarlet Knights have struggled to translate their talent into consistent performances. Meanwhile, Nebraska has been dominant on their home court, boasting a flawless 8-0 record at home this season. Their home court advantage has been one of the best in college basketball, continuing a trend from the previous season when the Cornhuskers Cornhuskers posted an impressive 15-4 record against the spread in home games. That success appears likely to persist given their recent form and the supportive atmosphere of Pinnacle Bank Arena. Nebraska's defense is expected to play a key role in this game, as it has been one of the team's strongest assets. According to Ken Palm's metrics, Nebraska ranks 21st nationally in adjusted defensive efficiency. Their defensive prowess is even more pronounced at home, where they are allowing an average of just 63 points per game. Conversely, Rutgers has faced significant challenges on the offensive end despite having two standout scorers in Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. Over their last 3 games, the Scarlet Knights have averaged a mere 63 points per game and have surpassed the 75-point mark just once in 6 Big Ten contests this season. The Cornhuskers, however, have faced their own challenges recently. They squandered a 15-point second half lead in a loss at Iowa and were thoroughly outmatched in their subsequent game against Purdue, where they struggled to compete for more than 30 minutes. On a positive note for Nebraska, both of those defeats came on the road, and they now return to the comfort of their home court. The Cornhuskers' undefeated 8-0 record as the home team this season stands in stark contrast to Rutgers' 0-3 record in true road games. 2 of those losses were by double digits, while the third was a narrow 2-point defeat at Kennesaw State. For Rutgers to have any chance of success, they will need more offensive contributions from players beyond the Harper-Bailey duo, as relying solely on those two has proven unsustainable. In true road games, Rutgers has been particularly poor, holding in 0-3 straight-up record with an average margin of defeat of 9 points. This includes a disappointing loss to Kennesaw State earlier in the season, a game that no Power 4 team should have dropped. Adding to their woes, Rutgers' offense ranks just 101st in adjusted offensive efficiency, with an average of 111 points per 100 possessions. Their shooting numbers are equally uninspiring, as they rank 204th or worse in field goal percentage, 3-point shooting, and free throw percentage. Nebraska also has an edge in rebound rate, outperforming Rutgers 51.7% to 50.1%. This contest provides Nebraska with a prime opportunity to regain momentum, and they are well positioned to capitalize on the struggles of a young and inconsistent Rutgers team. The Scarlet Knights have failed to cover the spread in all 3 of their road games this season, and it's unlikely that trend will change in the hostile environment of Pinnacle Bank Arena. So the Nebraska Cornhuskers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Rutgers, despite having a slightly above average offensive approach overall, has struggled with poor shooting metrics throughout this season. They rank 205th in field goal percentage, 208th in 2-point shooting, 267th in threes per game, 258th in 3-point shooting, and 238th in free throw percentage. Despite their deficiencies, Rutgers plays at a fairly brisk pace, ranking 73rd in adjusted tempo with an average of 70.2 possessions per game. However, Nebraska remains a formidable defensive team, even after their struggles against Purdue. The Cornhuskers rank 22nd in defensive efficiency, 96th in effective field goal percentage defense, 72nd in forced turnover percentage, 47th in field goal percentage defense, and 52nd in steal percentage this season. These metrics indicate that Nebraska's defense is more than capable of stifling Rutgers' already lackluster offensive efforts. Given these factors, it's unlikely that Rutgers will have a strong offensive performance in this game. Their offensive struggles, combined with Nebraska's stout defense, suggest that the final score will stay under the total. Nebraska's defensive efficiency is ranked 21st nationally, as they allow just 95 points per 100 possessions. On the flip side, Rutgers' primary strength is their defense, which ranks a modest 88th in adjusted defensive efficiency. Rutgers will need to rely heavily on their defense to keep the game competitive, but Nebraska's combination of home court advantage and defensive strength will make that a tall order. This defensive battle is likely to result in a low-scoring affair. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Gonzaga versus Oregon State. The 16th-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs are set to face off against the Oregon State Beavers this Thursday in what promises to be an exciting matchup in Oregon. Gonzaga has had an impressive season thus far, boasting an overall record of 14-4 and maintaining a flawless 5-0 start in the West Coast Conference. On the other hand, Oregon State enters this contest with a solid 13-5 record overall and a 3-2 standing in West Coast Conference play, positioning this game as a significant test for both teams. teams. Gonzaga should proceed with caution as they head to Oregon on Thursday evening, as the Beavers are more than capable of delivering a potential upset. While Oregon State is relatively new to the West Coast Conference, they have ample experience against formidable opponents from their time in the Pac-12 Conference. Among the teams in the West Coast Conference, the Beavers stand out as one of the few squads capable of matching the Bulldogs' offensive firepower while also employing a strong defensive approach to slow them down. Oregon State has proven to be a force to be reckoned with at home, compiling a remarkable 10-1 record on their own court this season. Furthermore, they excel in key statistical areas that are crucial for causing an upset. The Beavers lead the conference in three-point shooting percentage and rank third in overall field goal shooting. Additionally, they boast the top-ranked field goal defense in the West Coast Conference. While Gonzaga remains undefeated in conference play, they are not without weaknesses. One glaring issue for the Bulldogs is their struggle with turnovers, as they currently rank 11th in the West Coast Conference in turnover margin. This vulnerability could prove costly against an opportunistic team like Oregon State. Coming into this matchup, Gonzaga holds the number 16 spot in the national rankings and carries the momentum of a 5-game winning streak. However, the Bulldogs will face the challenge of playing on the road. Gonzaga's offensive performance has been stellar, with the team shooting nearly 50% from the field and averaging 88 points per game. They have scored at least 88 points in 4 of their last 5 contests. Meanwhile, Oregon State brings a balanced approach, pairing their solid offensive capabilities with a stifling defense. The Beavers are allowing just 63 points per game this season and have held their opponents to 55 points or fewer in 2 of their last 3 outings. This defensive prowess could be a critical factor in determining the outcome of the game. Despite Gonzaga's overall success, they have struggled to cover the spread in recent games. In fact, the Bulldogs have only covered the spread once in their last 10 matchups. Notably, they have been favored in every game they've played this season and were expected to win by double-digit margins in all but 5 of those contests. Interestingly, the 3 teams most recently facing Gonzaga as underdogs with less than a 10-point spread, Kentucky, Connecticut, and UCLA all secured outright victories. Does this mean I'm fully confident in Oregon State pulling off a major upset and defeating Gonzaga? Not entirely. However, the factors at play make me hesitant to back the Bulldogs to cover the spread. Gonzaga has struggled defensively in consecutive games recently, which gives Oregon State a legitimate chance to keep this game competitive. So the Oregon State Beavers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both teams excel in shot making, and Oregon State's ability to hit their shots will be a determining factor if they hope to overcome Gonzaga. Although the Beavers' defense is a strong point, the Bulldogs are likely to capitalize on second-chance opportunities and will hold a significant advantage on the boards. This edge could contribute to a game tempo favoring Gonzaga, who is ranked 65th in the nation in pace of play. Nonetheless, Oregon State's potent long-range shooting will allow them to counter Gonzaga's interior strength. Trading three-pointers for 2-point baskets could help the Beavers stay competitive in this fast-paced contest. The trend for high-scoring games bodes well for this matchup. The over has hit in 6 of the Beavers' last 7 games, with Oregon State surpassing 80 points in each of their last 3 contests and 5 of their last 7. During this stretch, they have also allowed 2 opponents, Loyola Marymount and Santa Clara, to eclipse the 80-point mark. Gonzaga has consistently reached or exceeded the 80-point threshold this season, doing so in all but 3 of their games. Notably, 2 of the Bulldogs' last 5 opponents, Pepperdine and San Diego, managed to score at least 80 points, despite Gonzaga limiting only 3 of their first 13 opponents to such high scores. This game feels like it could come down to 1 or 2 possessions, given the quality of the 2 teams. Ultimately, it seems likely that offensive firepower will triumph over defensive resistance on Thursday night. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.